Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson. And last week we looked at the Aqua EcoDrift pumps. And this week we're going to take a look at the Aqua master controller that goes with these pumps. It's going to allow us to control multiple pumps wirelessly, which is pretty cool. Now, full disclosure, Aqua gave me this master controller to test with their pumps. Now, they're not a sponsor of the channel, and any opinions within this video are my own. Nobody's paying me to do this. So let's go take a look at the Aqua master controller. Inside the box, we get the controller itself, the power supply, the adapters for the power supply, as this is an international product, and the instruction manual. In my last video, I said the pump's controller faceplate was pretty scratched up. Well, that's because there's a piece of plastic that's meant to protect the face that I didn't notice that needs to be peeled off. Once you take that off, you're greeted with a lovely blue faceplate. Same can be said for the master controller. Peel that off, and we got a really nice looking controller. To sync the pump controllers to the master controller, select the A or the B mode, depending on what signal you want that controller to get. Turn on the master controller, and that's it. You're synced. Your master controller is now in control of your EcoDrift pumps. So the first thing I want to mention is how easily this controller syncs up to the pumps. It's instant. I've never used anything wireless that syncs up this easy. If you've ever tried to sync up a Bluetooth speaker or anything before, you know it can be frustrating, especially things like printers and stuff. This just works. It syncs like instantly. I'm blown away by how easily it syncs. Secondly, I'm down here in the basement for a reason. I've got this controller plugged in and it's running the pumps upstairs. So the signal's running from here going all the way upstairs. I'm not sure what kind of witchcraft is behind this, but it's supposed to be a Wi-Fi signal that comes out of this box and controls those pumps. I'm blown away. The EcoDrift controller comes in two different channels. We have an A channel and a B channel. For wave functions, we have a constant mode, which just means that the pump blows water constantly across the tank. And in the constant mode, you can adjust the flow as to how hard the pump is pushing the water. Then we also have a wave 1, which means that the pump is pulsing on and off, and it's pumping water on, off, on, off. And that's how you get the wave kind of going back and forth in your tank. And you can split that any way you want between the A and the B channels between the two pumps. And then we also have a wave 2 mode. So then the pump rises and falls in a much more gradual pattern. It doesn't shut on and off, but it rises and falls. Then we have that random setting where it goes on, off, rises, falls, goes through a bunch of different patterns as the programming dictates, which is actually pretty cool because you get lots of random patterns. Now, you can put both pumps on the A channel if you want to, and that syncs the pump. So when they're both on the A channel, they're both doing exactly the same thing. And you can do that with multiple pumps. You can have 3, 4, 5 pumps, whatever you want on any individual channel, and you can sync them any way you like, which is really cool. That's one of the benefits to the master controller is you can sync your pumps. Now, the other cool feature it has is it has a timer, so you can run one set of pumps. You could have multiples or whatever you want, however you want to set it up, and it'll run one set for an hour, and then it'll switch to the B mode and run the second set for an hour, from 1 minute to an hour, which is pretty beneficial. Now, the reason you'd want to do this is if you want to simulate that tidal zone that a lot of our corals come from. So you could put a set of pumps on this side and have them blow this way for 1 minute up to an hour, and then after an hour, have it switch this way. And remember, you can do that from anywhere between 1 minute to an hour. Now, the thing that we're missing here that I hope they put in the next version of this pump is the ability to anti-sync. So I have no way to set it up so that when this pump goes off, this pump goes on. I can set it between the A and the B mode that I get pretty close, but there's no true anti-sync, which allows you to get that standing wave where your waves rocking back and forth. So that would be the hope for the future as to the control I'd like to see this controller give? So who's this controller for? Well, if you've got one pump in your tank, you probably don't need the master controller. The controls that come with the pumps themselves are really actually pretty good. They're gonna get you where you wanna be in most cases. Now, the person this controller is for is the person who's running a lot of pumps in their tank. And that's really the direction I'm taking my tank. Instead of running a big pump on each side, I'm gonna go to running more smaller pumps so I can get the flow where I want it, when I want it, how I want it. It seems like a better way to go. So you'll see more pumps going on this tank in the future. Now, the other person that this is for is somebody who wants to sync their pumps. If you want multiple pumps doing the same thing at the same time, this controller will do that. You can't get that with the standard controls. And then of course, if you wanna simulate that tidal zone, if you want your water to flow across for a given amount of time one way and then switch so that it's running the other way, this controller works perfect for that. Not only is it gonna come across, but you're gonna take advantage of the DC mode and have the rise and the fall of the pump speed happen, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing is it's wireless. So as I add pumps to this tank, I don't want lots of controllers sitting on the outside of my tank. Right now I have one on each side, but as you know, I haven't finished the outside cabinetry. When that cabinetry is done, I don't want those sitting outside. They're gonna be underneath where they belong. Now this master controller will control all of the pumps with the controllers underneath, and that controller doesn't even have to be near this fish tank. I can put it in another room if I want to, and have the outside of my tank looking fantastic. So when I finally get around to doing the exterior of this tank, you'll see where I end up putting it. So overall, I think the master controller is pretty cool. For me, it's gonna work out great. So thank you for watching this episode of Mile High Reefers. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.